Welcome to the Nevada Senate race debate. Nevada has had a recent Republican political trend, with Republican Governor Jim Gibbons winning a 4-point victory in 2006, and Republican Senator John Ensign winning in a landslide with a 14-point victory in 2006 as well. Tonight we will have questions from both panelists and citizens on the street. We will let incumbent Democratic Senator Harry Reid and the Republican challenger Sharron Angle introduce themselves. First, Senator Reid.
I'm Harry Reid. I have worked for Nevada for over 25 years, and I know how the system works. I'm the Senate Majority Leader and a 4-time incumbent. I know that Nevada is suffering right now, but I'm working hard with Congress to provide solutions that will benefit all Nevadans and Americans.
Mrs. Angle, you now have the floor.
You're right, Senator Reid. We do have a lot of problems, and Congress isn't doing what is needed to fix them. I'm a grandmother and mother, and like many Nevadans, I've felt the suffering firsthand. What we need right now isn't a Washington insider, it's common folk like me.
We have two panelists with us tonight, John Ralston and Dylan Goldberg from the Las Vegas Sun. We will start with Mr. Ralston.
Senator Reid, Republicans have had a recent political surge. How do you plan on gaining back critical votes?
I think people will realize that I have passed major legislation that has benefited the economy of Nevada through the creation of hundreds of thousands of jobs, and that I am the most qualified candidate, unlike Mrs. Angle, who seems to just vote no on every single issue.
And now for a rebuttal from Mrs. Angle.
The people of Nevada don't want a Washington insider who has forgotten what it is like to be a middle-class citizen. I want the same things as you, Nevada, and I will fight to achieve those goals.
And now a question from Mr. Goldberg.
My question is for Mrs. Angle. The universal health care bill has been a hot topic. What do you think needs to be done with health care?
My views are simple. The government needs to stay out of the private sector. People have the right to choose, and this extends to the health care. Leave it up to the free market.
Senator Reid, your response?
I fought for the health care bill because it provides those in need with medical help, but it also creates thousands of jobs, which is what Nevada and America needs right now.
We have an unemployed citizen with a question for Mrs. Angle.
Sharron Angle, how do you plan on creating jobs for the state of Nevada?
I think that Congress should make policies that allow private sectors to hire more. It is not Congress's purpose to make government jobs. It is their purpose to indirectly provide the resources for businesses to create jobs.
Thank you for your time, Senator Reid and Mrs. Angle. Our political analysts will now predict the outcome of the race. Mr. Ralston, what are your thoughts?
A so-called scandal with interesting timing has come up with Deanna Tejada, Reid's Hispanic press secretary, who apparently repeatedly lied to federal immigration and FBI agents and submitted false federal documents to the Department of Homeland Security to cover up her illegal 7-year marriage to a Lebanese national who was the subject of an Oklahoma City Joint Terror Task Force investigation.
You know, John, this could possibly create a more negative view of Harry Reid and lead to more undecided voters swaying towards Angle.
And so what about you, Mr. Goldberg?
With his ads and commercials, Senator Reid keeps attempting to point out the extreme nature of Angle's views. He has called her a hypocrite by pointing out her health care is paid for by the government, even though she's against her new health care system. Ms. Angle is also engaging in negative advertisements by trying to tie Senator Reid to Obama's extreme voting record and spending, including the stimulus package and the health care bill.
Do you have anything else to add, Mr. Ralston?
In a previous debate, Mrs. Angle had Senator Reid on his heels. Also, Mrs. Angle has raised $18 million compared to Senator Reid's $22 million. Typically, when an incumbent senator has to raise that much money, he has trouble getting reelected.
And so what about you, Mr. Goldberg?
As we take a look at Harry Reid's political interests, it stands out that he is against Social Security privatization, but for taxation, U.S. out of the war in Iraq, Obama's stimulus and health care plan, and a pathway for illegal immigrants to citizenship.
It's worthwhile to note that Mrs. Angle is for the privatization of Social Security, but she's against Obama's health care plan and stimulus package. She's against taxation and illegal immigrants gaining citizenship. She's also against the U.S. out of Iraq.
This is generally what we would expect from two candidates of different political parties, don't you think?
Yes.
Mr. Goldberg, would you like to add anything?
Most polls have Sharron Angle in the lead by as many as 3 points, but the undecided vote could swing the election either way. However, we feel that Nevada will vote for Sharon Engel due to the Democrats' ineffectiveness in Congress led by Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid.
So, do you have a consensus?
We believe that Mrs. Engel will ultimately win the Nevada Senate seat in 2010.